All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. I'm looking forward to getting my TJ Otzelberger signed mini basketball. I'm going to put it up on eBay and sell it for 99 cents. I'm going to see if it sells. And if it sells, then I'm wrong. I'm in all seriousness, me and Mr. JD Sharp, I think we both agree that not the best promotion. Don't think that's going to get people excited.
Well, why are UNLV fans still UNLV fans?
Yeah,
because they're either alumni, and if that's the case, they were there. They remember those glory days.
Yeah.
And so why would you not incorporate that if you want those people back? That's just marketing 101. That's just basic logic.
Our friend had a promotion involving the athletic director, but I can't say it on the air because it's not appropriate. But your idea of Desiree Reed-Francois signed calendar gets me very excited. I like it better than the Otzelberger
just
basketball.
like a rainbow variation of different business suits for each month.
Yeah, I actually like that.
I think that would work out well.
Let me tell you something. I would purchase that calendar and I would hang it up here in the studio along with a Ken Thompson picture of him in a Speedo. I'd do that as well. Anyway, 257-5396. The reason why I give out the number because I want to know, what do you think is a real promotion? What do you think would work? And what do you think about this signed mini Otzelberger basketball? 257-5396. Stop laughing because it's a serious question. Then I'm going to start laughing again. Let's go to Jim. Jim, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. Jim, you're our 150th caller. You just won a mini Otzelberger basketball. Congratulations.
Oh, that's awesome. It's worth, what, 75 cents? I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
I just looked in my Beckett. It's got it priced at 66 cents.
Well, as far as the marketing, you can't really do fireworks in there, right? So you got to do something else. And I'm from Maryland, and they had nobody going to the Orioles games back in Maryland. And what they started to do was let the kids run on the field before and after the game.
That's a cool idea.
It brought so many different people in. So I don't know if they could do something like that out here.
Sure they could.
And that's a great way to get these younger fans interested.
Jim,
loving the team.
No, I like that idea. Would it kill them to say after every game, maybe 20 minutes after a game, if you make a three-pointer, you win an Otzelberger mini basketball? That would make a little bit more sense to me. At least you get to shoot on the floor.
It would be great. Yeah. Put them on the hardboard, and everything's. The kids will make the parents continue to come back. All
right, Jim, I'm sorry I lied to you. You were not the 150th caller. You were the 149th caller. You do not win a signed Otzelberger basketball. Your consolation prize is a Marvin Menzies signed basketball.
I do have some news about Vegas Take swag. We are putting together a bunch of poker chips, sets of poker chips.
I like it.
That's the Vegas Take Radio that we'll be giving away over the course of the next.
I like that.
That's actually real
life. I like that promotion better than the Otzelberger basketballs. Jim, I appreciate your call, my man. Thank you for.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks
Jim.
for all you do.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank you. I actually agree with him. I think shooting on the floor would be a good promotion. 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Greg. My understanding is Greg is from the class of 82. I was 2 years old, Greg. I don't mean to make you sound old. Thank you.
Yeah, you already passed that. I'm old already.
So, Greg, what do you think about these Otzelberger signed basketballs? Is it getting the blood flowing? Does it excite you? Are you going to immediately tell your wife, hey, honey, we're buying UNLV season tickets. I've been wanting to get my hands on an Otzelberger signed basketball since I was a teenager. I mean, is it getting you excited?
We've been sitting in Section 210 for about 25 years, and that doesn't get me that excited. I would need something that I could really get down for. I think that knowing the marketing situation, they could probably make money by just selling every seat for $1 because they make 80% of their money off concessions anyways.
There you go. That was what I said, Greg. I said that in the last segment when we had Lon Kruger on. I said, the upper bowl, nobody's going to games in the upper, and no one's sitting in the upper bowl. And if they are, they're fools because there's about 5,000 open seats in the lower bowl. But anyway, that being said, why not just sell those seats up there for $1? Why not? Who does that hurt?
That's what I hear about the people around me all the time that come to the games. They say they bring more family and friends if they weren't paying $16 or $18 to watch a snooze fest.
There you go. Anything else, Greg? I mean, I like that. I mean, we agree on that one. Is there anything else that you think would get more people to games?
I think most of the people that I've talked to said they always wanted to touch the floor, shoot a basketball off the floor. Maybe have free throws. Have a raffle for that, and whoever wins at halftime, you come down there and shoot a shot from the foul line or whatever for free tickets for next week's game or something.
I like that. You're the second person to say that. Listen, I am going to take that opinion. I am going to take this segment, and I am going to email it to Desiree Francois. What do you think about that? That's what I'm going to do.
Someone needs to be talking to them because we've had it wrong for about a decade. I don't know how to wake them up.
Yeah.
How about a horse tournament?
Exactly.
64.
Well, whoever it is, you're going to beat most of the UNLV players, and none of them can shoot. That's the problem. That's the problem, Greg. That's the issue, my man.
That's probably the only thing keeping those 4,000 fans coming in is the fact that they do play really hard on defense.
They do.
No shooters.
They play hard. I give Menzies credit for that. I don't think that. I think in year 2, at the end of the year, they kind of quit. But I will say this last year, I do think the kids played hard. I don't think they gave up, and I agree, Greg. Greg, it's good to hear from you, my man. Thank you for the call.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. 257-5396. We are talking about this new promotion by the UNLV Athletic Department. The first 200 people who purchase or renew their season tickets will receive a mini Coach Otzelberger basketball. What do you think about that? Do you think it's the wrong promotion? JD said they should be a signed Desiree Reed Francois calendar. He said that might work. Let's go to Scott. Scott, thanks for calling in. How are you, Scott?
Good. The most overused cliche in college basketball is we play hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these kids are on 40, some at USC, that's $70,000. You're on a $70,000 a year scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
To play hard, that's not asking a lot.
I agree.
Come on. We play hard.
Well,
come on.
I tend to agree with you, and I understand your point.
We blocked out on defense. We ran back. Great job. Contest shots. Earn your scholarship, man.
I agree with that, but there are some kids that are entitled. There are also bad coaches out there that do not hold players accountable. And when you're an 18, 19-year-old kid and you're playing for a coach and there's no leadership on your team and you're going through the motions and you're on a losing team. Look, I'm not trying to make excuses. Maybe I am, but I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to say if you don't have a coach that is an authoritative figure that is not, and you don't have leadership on that team and your team is just really bad, I think for an 18, 19-year-old kid, I think it's easy for them to just lay down and not play hard. That's all I'm trying to say, Scott.
Yeah, I hear you. I wish this coach the best. I want him to prove everybody wrong. I always, Norman Dale at Hickory High School, nobody wanted him in the movie Hoosiers, and they won the state championship. So, I don't know. Good luck to him. I'd like to see him win. He's going to have to match Musselman's intensity, and the guy at Utah State has it going. So, we'll see what he does.
Let me ask you this, Scott. What would get you in the building besides the obvious, like winning and a better product? What type of promotion, Scott, for somebody like you, would UNLV have to put together that you could say to yourself, all right, I'll go to some games, I'll give them a chance? What would you need to see?
Yeah, it's a great. I'm glad you threw that out there. But I've been going to UNLV basketball games off and on for 15 years. I'll tell you what, guys, and this is going to upset a lot of your viewers. I don't consider UNLV basketball fans that basketball savvy. If I had $1 for every Yahoo who's come over from Pahrump and has 5 beers and all he does is shoot, all he's yelling is shoot. My experiences at UNLV basketball games are a lot different than, say, going to WCC games where it's more of a polished crowd.
It's interesting. It's interesting you said that, Scott, and I'm going to anger some listeners as well and say that I don't think the majority of UNLV fans are so basketball savvy, like you said. Here's why I say that. A lot of people in this town were, and we just had Lon Kruger on, a lot of people in this town were okay with Lon Kruger leaving and Dave Rice coming in. Those type of people have zero credibility, and you'd be surprised how many people wanted him out. There are also a lot of people.
It's because they were kind of stuck on the running Rebels element, and the high scoring, the fast paced playing team.
And don't even get me started with some of the media members in this town. But there are still people here that think Menzies was doing a great job, Scott. What fans?
Let's face it. Those teams back in the 80s and 90s, man, they used to just blitz teams. 124 to 97. That's what people expected, and they still expect it. And it's 2019, and it's never, ever, ever going to happen again.
No, you're right.
It's just not.
You're right. Scott, it's good to hear from you. Appreciate the call.
Great call, Scott.
257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 702-257-5396. We're talking about the latest UNLV promotion, trying to get people in the seats, right? We had Lon Kruger on, and that was a very, very interesting interview. And by the way, if you missed it, boy, I do say by the way a lot. By the way. If you missed the interview with Lon Kruger, we are going to post that on our Twitter page at The Vegas Take, also our SoundCloud page at The Vegas Take as well. The most interesting thing about that interview, and we alluded to it in the last segment, is that when we had Desiree Reed Francois, and when I interviewed her a few days ago, I asked her about the process. I asked her a lot of questions she was uncomfortable answering or she didn't want to answer. which is fine. But she's the one who brought up Lon Kruger. She's the one who said he was a part of this process in the hiring. She's the one who did that. She brought him up. So I asked Lon Kruger that question. I said, when did they contact you and talk to me about how you were a part of the process in hiring this new coach? Lon Kruger just said it himself. He kind of laughed a little bit, right? JD, help me out here. He laughed a little bit, right?
Yeah, he was very much aware that Desiree Reed-Francois had more or less leveraged his name to justify her protocol or lack thereof in hiring TJ Otzelberger,
right.
Despite the fact that the UNLV fan base, Twitter, a lot of the media didn't agree with it. She kind of threw him under the bus and said, hey, well, no, Lon said this was okay, so it's okay. But then he said, no, we talked, but it wasn't as in-depth as...
He said we didn't talk much.
As she led on.
He laughed a little bit.
And again, he didn't have to say that, so he said that for a reason, because he's kind of annoyed by this.
Yeah, I think he made it... He's Lon is one of the classiest individuals you will ever meet. But Lon made it very clear in his statements he was not a big part of this process. And he also even added the fact that they called him late in the process. He said that, which leads me to believe that they already had somebody in mind. And they're using Lon Kruger's name so that the fans or maybe even members of the media will say,
with it.
oh, that's great. They contacted Lon Kruger. Oh, that's wonderful.
And to me, that just doesn't work for me.
No, it shouldn't work for anybody. If you really wanted to contact Lon Kruger, you should have done it immediately after you fired Marvin Menzies, but it didn't happen.
It's just more fuel to the fire that it doesn't care about what anybody thinks of her in this town.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to do things right.
Yeah.
This is probably a stop down the road for her.
And look,
this job might even be above her as it is.
Some people are going to think we're being too hard, but too bad. This is the way, we don't have any financial ties to UNLV. We tell it like it is.
I mean, that's directly from the horse's mouth.
Yes.
Lon Kruger was a big part of the conversation at the TJ Otzelberger announcement in your interview with her.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a big part of that conversation.
Yeah. Apparently what Lon Kruger told us, he wasn't that big of the process. In fact, he said it himself. They contacted him late in the process. This was her own choice. I don't believe she really was influenced by anybody, including players, including other coaches. This was her choice, her and Fogler. That was it.
She was influenced by herself, and nobody was going to push her around.
Yeah, well, we'll see if it works out. We hope it does, but I am very skeptical. The number to call, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. We're talking about this UNLV basketball promotion where they're giving you an Otzelberger. It's not even a real basketball. They couldn't spend money on real, so they got these little mini basketballs, and Otz is signing it. Please make it out to the Vegas Take, Otz. Let's take some more phone calls. Let's go to Austin. Austin, thank you for calling into the Vegas Take. How are you?
Hey, Austin.
Hey, good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, my man.
Very well.
So, Austin, does that excite you? They're giving out TJ Otzelberger signed mini basketballs if you renew your season tickets.
No, not really. No, but something I've been saying for a long time, this would get some of the old fans back, is why, and it's only a game thing, but why not do a throwback night where you retire somebody's jersey, you wear the old jerseys, and you play a team that they played from the Final Four back in 1990, since it's the 30-year mark. There's Loyola Marymount, Ball State, teams that you could beat, and you have the throwback night, you get the old fans back, and you have a game that they could probably win and show this new up-tempo offense.
Remind the fans, remind the students, remind the alumni, and let America know about the past. Yeah. About the glory days.
I think that is a more than wonderful idea, but I think there's one issue with that. I'm not sure some of these players would do it. A lot of these players have not been contacted since the Lon Kruger days. Okay, Dave Rice did an average job. He was close to Jerry Tarkanian, of course, playing for him, and brought Jerry in. I didn't see a ton of players around the program. Menzies, I'm just going to call it for what it is. He did literally next to nothing as far as getting these former players involved and getting out in the community. A lot of these players, from what I have heard, are disgruntled with where the UNLV program is at. You're not going to get Stacey Augman to come back here. I'll tell you that much right now. Danny Tarkanian, who was on our show on Friday, made it a point of saying that, they have not done a good job reaching out to former UNLV players. And I think if Francois made a phone call to a Larry Johnson or a Greg Anthony, I'm not sure they would be involved in something. I think it has to be a gradual process. And while on paper, Austin, I think you have a fantastic idea. I'm not sure. I think it has to be a gradual process. You've got to lure these. It's kind of like, I hate to say it like this, but I'm going to make a weird analogy here. It's kind of like you have an ex-girlfriend, right, that you dated back in high school, and it's like 10, 15 years later. You both live different lives. You can't just meet her for dinner and take her out, right?
It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You just got divorced. you send her a desperate text, but you haven't cultivated that relationship.
JD would know about that. He does that all the time. No, but I think it's a fair analogy. You have to ease yourself into it. Hey, I know it's been a long time. I know it's been a while, dear. Can we have a conversation? Can we meet for coffee and talk? And I think if Francois is the athletic director that she wants people to believe that she is, then it is her responsibility to do that. It is her responsibility to put a Band-Aid on the boo-boos and develop these relationships with these players again. I would love to ask her this question. Can you name 5 players on the UNLV championship team? I don't know. That's I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm being honest here. She needs to reach out to all these players. She needs to do that, and I think that's step number 1, Austin. And if she can do that, then I think your idea is great.
No, thanks. Yeah, and it's still a big thing in the community. You hear that from a lot of the callers. They're saying, I've been a fan for so many years, and they got to start doing that, because that, I think, in itself would generate more interest.
How about TJ Otzelberger landing in a helicopter? Did that get your juices flowing?
It was interesting, and I mean, we're at a point now where we got to start doing creative stuff to start getting some interest back. So I mean, whatever they start doing. So I mean, keeping my fingers crossed, but cautiously optimistic, I guess you could say.
No, the thing about Mike Miller is you don't have to have him come in on a helicopter.
No, you don't.
He just walks in.
No.
And the crowd responds, and so does the city.
Yeah. How about LeBron James tweeting something out?
It was artificial hype.
Yeah. I guarantee you, if Mike Miller, and again, we're past this road, but if Mike Miller gets the job, I bet you LeBron tweets something out.
Absolutely. Does Bryce Harper.
I bet you Bryce Harper goes to a bunch of games. I bet you he tweets something out. He would have a tremendous amount of support. Look, that ship has sailed. TJ Otzelberger is our coach. We all want him to succeed. At least I do, and I know JD does. We want it to work. I just disagree with the hire. That's all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, we're all on the same page.
Yep. Austin, it's good to hear from you, my man. Thank you for calling.
Thanks, Austin.
I appreciate it.
One thing he has to do is open up the practice to the media and some former players, and I would even say some very, very devoted, 30-year, 25-year ticket holders. I don't think that's a terrible idea.
I don't think so at all. Maybe do something like that. I know that Isaiah Ryder went to a couple practices when Dave Rice was coaching. It was good to see him around the program. You see a few players here and there. I can't remember the last time I saw Larry Johnson at a UNLV basketball game. It was when the late great Jerry Tarkanian was there under Dave Rice. We saw LJ at a couple games. We've seen Greg Anthony at a few games here and there. But it's very rare. You have to reach out to these players. You absolutely have to do that. Look, UNLV's in a lot of trouble. Make no mistake about it. When you have Michael Avenatti tweeting about UNLV, that's not a good thing. We had Jim Livengood, the former UNLV athletic director, that was on last week. And he said, look, when you got Avenatti doing that, that's bad. You get nothing good out of that. You've got 3,000 or 4,000 people showing up to games. You got UNLV picked 9th in the Mountain West Conference. You've got a coach that a lot of people like to call up and coming, but in my opinion, not proven. He was in the Summit League with the best team, best talent, and hasn't won an NCAA tournament game. Did he do a good job over there at South Dakota State? Absolutely. But again, that is the Summit League. This is not the Mountain West Conference. This is not UNLV basketball.
And he just hired his assistant coach, apparently, Robert Jones, who was at Norfolk State. And they had a big upset of Missouri a couple of years back. I'm sure he was a part of that.
Yeah.
So there's and he is doing a good job of recruiting. I've seen a lot of interest already.
Sure.
Couple of 4-star guys, a JUCO kid named Jonah Antonio, 6'5", 205-pound shooting guard who can really stroke it from deep. So I think they're going to have good players. The question is, can they and will they play defense? And I'm guessing not, but I hope I'm wrong.
The opposite of Lon Kruger. What TJ Otzelberger, his style, is the opposite of Lon Kruger. Kruger's teams play defense. They play good, hard-nosed defense. Okay, Otzelberger's teams do not do that. They have a lot of freedom offensively. Freedom. They can score. He's had shooters. He's had scorers. But in my opinion, to win in this Mountain West Conference League, when you look at the teams that usually win, it's usually arguably the best defensive team in conference or the second best. And Utah State was certainly that. They were very good defensively. And Fresno State had a very good year. Very good defensively. San Diego State, very good defensively. UNLV hasn't been good defensively. They were terrible under Dave Rice. They were worse under Marvin Menzies defensively. And the last good defensive team that UNLV had was under Lon Kruger. Defense wins, especially in a conference like the Mountain West Conference. And Otzelberger's, he's going to have to do a better job with getting those guys to buy in defensively.
And especially towards the end. I mean, look at the Final Four. These are 4 very, very strong defenses. Michigan State, Virginia,
Are you kidding
Texas
me?
Tech.
Virginia and Texas Tech are arguably two. Yeah.
3 of the top 7 defenses in opponent assists, opponent field goal percentage, opponent three-point percentage, opponent points allowed. So obviously defense translates when it really counts.
If Virginia played Texas Tech, I think the over-under would be around 100. I mean, I'm telling you, that game could be in the 40s. That's how good both of those teams are defensively.
Yeah, I could see a Texas Tech Auburn final. I'd love to see an Izzo Pearl final. Michigan State Auburn.
I think Pearl's a phenomenal coach, and I think for years he's been a very underrated coach. And I know he had some issues at Tennessee, but I think he's phenomenal. The bottom line is you have 4 very good coaches, 4 very, very, very good coaches. And I always tell people in the NCAA tournament, you got to bet coaches. You have to bet coaches and guards. And you look at Michigan State, Tom Izzo, Hall of Famer, phenomenal coach, very, very capable point guard. You look at Virginia, they don't have a lot of scorers, but they buy in defensively. Same thing with Texas Tech. Auburn, very solid team, a team that can shoot the basketball.
Texas Tech and Auburn are extremely deep. Even with Chuma Okeke, who went out for the year after getting injured against North Carolina.
And by the way,
they still go 9 deep.
I thought it was very classy, by the way, when the North Carolina players were kind of, tapping him on the shoulder. And I thought that was a great moment of sportsmanship.
They knew they were losing the game. Yeah. They knew that he was probably their best player. He's out for the season. Mm-hmm. At a minimum, his ACL is torn. Right. I mean, you have to respect the way they handled that.
Absolutely. We haven't even mentioned the Las Vegas Golden Knights, by the way. We're almost done here. But tomorrow on the show, Ron Futrell is going to be filling in for myself and for J.D. Sharp. Got a little family in town. Got to take the family out to see the Mike Hammer show tomorrow night.
I'm also moving out to Summerlin.
Oh, you're going to let people stalk you now?
Yep,
is that what's going on?
Stalk me in summer.
But Ron Futrell is going to be joining us, joining the show. I shouldn't say joining. He's going to be taking over for me tomorrow. And I know he's going to talk a lot of Vegas Golden Knights because the Knights are officially going to be playing the San Jose Sharks in round 1 of the NHL playoffs. And if you recall, the Knights played the Sharks last year. It was a phenomenal series. So if you're wondering what the odds are, it is a complete pick-em in that series. The Knights and the Sharks are both minus 110. And I'm going to make a prediction now, and a lot of Knights fans are not going to like it. But I think the Sharks are going to win the series, and I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, I want our home team to win. I think the Sharks have been more consistent throughout the year. I don't like the way the Knights have been playing as of late. Fleury, he appears to be healthy, but yet maybe not 100%. Doesn't seem to be an issue. But the Knights have been way too inconsistent this year. They go through stretches where they'll win, 8 to 10 games, and then they'll go through stretches where they lose a bunch of games. So are they? These are 2 very good hockey teams. They're 2 very physical hockey teams. But I think Carlson is going to be a huge issue on San Jose. I think it's going to be a great series, and Ron Futrell is going to be previewing that. Also, the Aviators manager will be joining the show tomorrow, so you're going to want to listen to that again. Ron Futrell filling in.
And look for another Ron Futrell, J.D. Sharp, TJ Otzelberger ditty. We're going to have a series of songs, and Brian will post them on his Twitter.
I can't wait for that. Yeah, I posted the other one. I think it's got like 1,000 views, so look forward to that as well. But, yeah, so if you missed any of our stuff, check it out. Twitter, @TheVegasTake. We have a SoundCloud page, The Vegas Take, as well. We'll be back on Wednesday, folks. So, don't miss us, too much. We'll be back Wednesday. Ron's going to fill in tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. You've been listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.